keep my glasses on. We're live. Welcome to Random Dialogues 27. It's September 2024. And joined here by, well, soon to be joined by 6 speakers, speaking up to 6 minutes each for over the hour. So if you're watching us live, welcome. And if you're watching us on replay, welcome. Please do engage. Give us a thumbs up that you're here, maybe a chat with us. And if you're watching on replay, we will get back to you and answer your questions, etc. So can I invite our speakers? I'm going to go around and invite you to share the title of your talk. And in some Random Dialogues, we have been known to completely change the idea of our talk halfway through the programme. So, Ian.
Hello there. I'm going to talk about the extraordinary power of questions.
Fantastic. Tabitha.
I think I'm going to simplify my title and just talk about becoming earth connected.
Oh, nice. Yes. Anna.
I'm going to talk about why I have 4 jobs.
Looking forward to finding out. And Debra.
I am going to talk about redefining success and what I think we need to do to help that along.
Thank you. Ali.
Hi, I'm going to talk about fingertips, the language of learning for life.
Ooh. Now, we're also going to be joined, hopefully, by Val, and she's going to talk about helping to break down the digital age gap by sharing skills, love, and knowledge across the generations. And I think she's also going to weave in about Humanity Day as well. So, Ian, are you okay to take the solo stage?
Yeah.
Fab. So we're going to have 3 speakers now. We're going to have Ian, then Tabitha, then Anna, and then there'll be time for Q&A. So if you're watching, please, think about what you'd like to ask our speakers, and you can either write it down or pop it in the chat, and we'll get back to you. So, Ian, over to you. Good luck. Solo late, and if the rest of us can all mute, please.
Well, thank you very much. Have you ever thought about how powerful questions can be? In life, we often seek answers, and the key to getting good answers is to ask good questions. So I thought we could think about the extraordinary power of questions. And for the next 6 minutes or so, I want to look at questions. I was at the first Random Dialogues in 2017, and Jayne reminded me that I read some poetry, and I thought I might do that again. I thought I might refer to an old poem, read a new poem, and then finish on a really old poem. So the old poem, my first point of reference is Rudyard Kipling, unsurprisingly, who wrote his famous poem, I Keep 6 Honest Serving Men. And he wrote it in 1902. And of course, his 6 honest serving men were what and why and when and how and where and who. And it was a poem about the inquisitiveness of his daughter, Josephine. And so my first tip or hint is to always ask open questions so you get good answers. You're not going to get good answers to a closed question. So really important to ask those open questions. The other guidance I give to people is not to be careful with the question why. The question why can be quite confrontative. So I always reframe that as, so what's your thinking behind that, rather than asking why. And children are well known for asking lots of questions. So I thought I'd just read this poem, which is by Paul Hansford. It's a modern poem. And it says here, why does a cow say moo, Daddy? When how many leaves has a tree? Why am I smaller than you, Daddy? How does food turn into me? Why is an elephant big, Daddy? And why is an ant so small? Why can't a cat be a pig, Daddy? Can't you answer my questions at all? How do puddles see their reflection, Daddy? Have unicorns ever been? And not that there's any connection, Daddy, but why is a tangerine? I've puzzled as hard as I can, Daddy. But why can't I go to the moon? Will I know it all when I'm a man, Daddy? Will I be grown up soon? I know that the sky can be red, Daddy. So why can't the sun be green? And the thoughts that go round in my head, Daddy, how do I know what they mean? Where does yesterday go, Daddy? I don't mean to ask out of turn, but with so many things I don't know, Daddy, how else can a little boy learn? I love that poem. It's by Paul Hansford. And then I encourage you to ask better questions. Just asking better questions and to think carefully about the questions that you ask. Have you ever been asked by somebody, have you booked your holiday yet? And you say, no, I haven't. And they say, well, I have. I'm going to the Caribbean. The only reason they asked you whether you booked your holiday was because they asked the question they wanted to be asked. So a great question to keep up your sleeve, tucked away, is the question, and how about you? So if someone asks you a question, give them a brief answer and ask, and how about you? And if at work or at home you ever have to give tasks to other people, I always think a great question to ask is, have you got everything you need? It's a lovely way to just check that people are prepared and ready to do what they need to do. And a lovely question to ask is, how can I help you? How can I help? And then just to finish, I want to read a really old poem. I want to read an old poem from the 13th century. And this is from Rumi. Some of you will know Rumi. So I'd like to finish on this poem. If you pass your night and merge it with dawn for the sake of heart, what do you think will happen? If the entire world is covered with blossoms that you have labored to plant, what do you think will happen? If the elixir of life that has been hidden in the dark fills the desert and the towns, what do you think will happen? If because of your generosity and love, a few humans find their lives, what do you think will happen? If you pour an entire jar filled with joyous wine on the head of those already drunk, what do you think will happen? Go, my friend, bestow your love, even on your enemies. If you touch their hearts, what do you think will happen? Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Beautiful. Lovely, thank you. And I'll, if I may, put those poems in the monthly newsletter as well for Random Dialogues. Yeah. Thank you. So here I have a question. Tabitha, are you ready to go into solo for your talk?
Yes, I am.
Okay, and welcome, Val. I know you're in the audience there as well. We will. You're going to be speaking a bit later on, so I'm going to ask Tabitha now to come forward. Good luck, enjoy, and we'll go into mute.
So I'd like to start with a question too. What would the world be like if all humans, families, communities, teams, and organisations were Earth connected? I'm the founding director of Earth Self, a community interest company who works with teams and organisations, people and communities who know that there's a better way of doing business, one that is inspired by Earth itself. Part of my background is as a professional coach with over 12,000 hours of coaching, facilitation and training experience, working with over 1,500 individuals and teams in 18 countries over 6 continents. I also train coaches to coach with and as nature through Earth Self's Nature Process Coach Training Programme, which is accredited by the International Coach Federation. Now, it was back in 2014 that I created the nature process because a coach challenged me to create a smaller program that allowed me to bring forth some of the unique way that I coached. And the nature process is a simple way of deepening your connection to nature by being in the body and experiencing nature through the senses. It consists of 5 key steps. 1, natural presence. Step into a deeper experience of the natural world as you become aware of your 54. Yes, you heard that right. 54 senses. 2, natural body. Connect to the wisdom of the body. 3, natural attractions. Let go of stories and beliefs you have about life and learn to think like nature and as part of nature. 4, natural communication. Experience and understand the non-verbal language of nature. And 5, natural release. Feel yourself as part of a greater whole, nature, and use these sensory connections to return to a state of balance and well-being. Now, you can practice the nature process in your home with a plant, with a memory of a time spent in nature, sitting in your back garden or a city park, as well as in forests, beaches, mountains, or other wilderness areas. And when I first launched the online program, hundreds of people from 16 countries took part in the first 2 online programs, where we raised over £10,000 to support the work of the non-profit organisation Tree Sisters, which is dedicated to reforesting the tropics. Now, curious about the impact of what was happening with people as they practiced the nature process, I ended up doing a master's thesis exploring the direct experiences of people who engage deeply with the nature process. There was this shift in focus from nature to earth that was mirrored in my own experience working with these clients, and I wanted to understand this better. So in my research on Earth Connection, which was published in the Journal of Consciousness, Spirituality and Transpersonal Psychology, I interviewed a number of individuals who regularly practiced the nature process. These interviews revealed several key benefits that participants experienced, highlighting how this approach transformed both the relationship with nature and their own inner states. There were 6 key themes that emerged. Processing difficult emotions and experiencing more positive ones, becoming regulated. Participants reported that engaging with the nature process helped them work through challenging emotions, leading to greater emotional regulation and a sense of peace, staying present and dealing with life more effectively, becoming responsive. Through the practice of natural presence, individuals found themselves more grounded in the present moment, which enhanced their ability to respond to life's challenges with clarity and calm. Feeling in control of changes in their life, becoming resilient. By tapping into nature's cycles and rhythms, participants developed resilience, feeling more empowered to handle life's uncertainties and changes. Realizing the need to give back to Earth, becoming reciprocal. Many participants expressed a growing sense of responsibility to reciprocate for what Earth gives us. The air that we're breathing just now, the food that we eat, the comfort within our own home, crafted from Earth's materials. And this led to actions that were supporting sustainability and environmental stewardship. Expanding sense of self to include a divine cycle of life, becoming reverential. Engaging with the nature process deepened participants' reverence for the interconnectedness of life, helping them to expand their sense of self to include the broader cycles of nature, and developing a clearer sense of identity, becoming realized. Participants reported a newfound clarity about who they are, recognizing their unique place and role within the larger ecosystem of Earth itself. And these findings demonstrate that daily connection with nature leads to a profound personal transformation. So I started with a question. I want to finish with 2 questions. And I love that I preceded a talk about questions. So the first question is, What do you need to do to deepen your own connection with nature so that you can experience life as a fully regulated, responsive, resilient, reciprocal, reverential, and realized human being? And how would this impact your life? Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. There's a bit of delay then because I was just writing your questions into our chat so we can answer those hopefully midway through. So we've had our first speaker in, we've had Tabitha, and now our third speaker, and then we'll have our Q&A time before our final three speakers. So it's Anna's turn now. Anna, welcome. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Ready? I think you might need to sit a little bit nearer to your mic. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay. Is that better?
I think so. Yeah, speak quite loud, I think. Yes, I'll put you
Okay.
in solo layout. Good luck, enjoy,
Thank you.
enjoy your random dialogue.
Hi. So when I tell people that I have 4 jobs, they look at me like I'm a lunatic. So I thought that maybe it would be an interesting talk today. I am a mum of an 11-year-old who's just started at secondary school and a 6-year-old who has just started in year 2. So they still need me around as a mum a lot, but nowhere near as much as they used to. So I thought it was time to do some things that I'm passionate about and enjoy them. So my first job is as an exam invigilator. I started doing this a couple of years ago to try and get to know the school that my daughter was likely to go to a bit before we made the final decision about whether to send her there. And it seemed like a good idea because, you know, it's just exam invigilation. And actually, I assumed it would be really boring. And in all honesty, it is really boring. However, there's something very inspiring about sitting in a room full of children who are doing their best to get qualifications and working really hard. And just sitting in a silent room gives me time to collect my thoughts in a way that I don't normally have. So it's great. And also, you don't get paid well, but you get paid for every minute that you work. And you don't have to take the work home with you in any way, shape, or form. So along with the fact that I work with a really lovely team of people, I've ended up carrying on doing it anyway because, yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's good. It definitely has a lot of positives. So that's my first job. My second job is as a self-employed business consultant. I always wanted to be a business consultant and help people. I know a lot of people who start businesses doing something they're really great at, especially after having children, so that it works around their children. But they don't necessarily know how to make it into a business. And I love helping them. I have a degree in business studies along with various marketing qualifications. And I also ran my own successful businesses for quite a few years before I started as a consultant 5 years ago, which was when I felt that I was ready to be able to help people properly. And I love seeing small businesses grow and develop because of my help. One of the things that I help them with is their sustainability. Always had a big interest in environmental issues, partly because my mother is an environmental scientist. And then when I became a mother myself, I started worrying more and more about the world we live in and that we are leaving for our children and theirs. So one of the things I did was I joined Guildford's Sustainable Business Network. And I, through them, did a course on how to help businesses get their carbon emissions down to net zero. And then I've been rolling this out to my clients and helping them mostly for free, just because it's something I'm so passionate about. And then because I had got involved with Zero Carbon Guildford through the SBN, I then became an energy champion. And I've been going around to people's houses and doing surveys to show them how they can save energy and therefore save money, which is really important for most of us at the moment. But it also reduces their carbon emissions. And since home residential energy is the second highest cause of carbon emissions after transport. It's something that, again, I'm really passionate about and I enjoy helping people to do. It's a bit of a win-win. And then whilst I was an energy champion, I applied for the job to be one of the project coordinators of the Home Energy Advice Task Force. So that became job number 3. And then whilst working on that project, I helped Surrey Climate Commission to set up a project that runs in conjunction with this, whereby we get to go back and help the most vulnerable people to implement the recommendations we've made in the survey. So the people that before couldn't do the things that we were recommending, we can go back and help them to do that. And I love that we get to give that added support, because before, quite often we were worried about how we were leaving people. So yes, so these are all my exciting jobs, and they all work flexibly around still being a mother. And then, of course, this is never enough, because as busy mothers always do, we have extra things. So I also volunteer in various different ways. I help at events at the children's schools, and I do some volunteer bits for Zero Carbon Guildford. But I also am part of Guildford recycling team, and we basically collect rubbish that can't be recycled in your normal household recycling, and we collect it up and we send it off to TerraCycle, who smush it up, and that is definitely the technical term for it, and they turn it into things like benches and children's playground equipment, etc. And they... There's my timer. They totally lost my train of thought now. Sorry. They give money for the recycling we send off to a fantastic local charity, Kicks Count. So yeah, so that's my other thing. And in fact, that's what I've spent most of today doing, is sorting through people's rubbish to send it off to TerraCycle. So there you have it, 4 jobs, plus being a mum and some volunteering to throw in as well. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Anna. Wow. Yeah, definitely. If you want to get a job, then ask a busy mom. Counted lots there. So I think it's the term is a portfolio career, isn't it? Hashtag portfolio careers. I think most people are heading that way. So yeah, you're paying it forward now, playing it forward. So if we would all like to unmute and have some time now to maybe reflect and chat about what the talks we've just enjoyed. Perhaps if we have, I don't know, hopefully we won't all talk over each other, but obviously, I don't know if anyone had a question, or I haven't got any in the chat at the moment from people viewing.
I just loved Ian's poems and questions. I think that was beautiful, Ian. And I love the gentle passion with which you shared those poems as well. It was really lovely to listen to, and thought-provoking too.
Thank you.
I did have a question for Ian, which was, one of the things that I do is I quite often will ask people, 3 times, how are you? Because the first time you get the, yeah, I'm fine. The second time you get, oh, yeah, it's okay. And then the third time you typically actually get the real response. And I was just wondering, do you think that's true of other types of questions, where if we just ask it once, we'll get the kind of socially acceptable answer, and that it's worth us being aware of that and trying to delve into it a bit more deeply?
Yeah, I think if we ask open questions rather than closed ones, we get more data and more detail. So if you say to somebody, do you love your job? You'll get a yes or a no. But if you say, what do you love about your job? You're going to get far more detail on which to build a conversation. So I just think moving away from closed questions to open questions. There are times when closed questions are really important. to get that yes/no answer, but generally open questions do help us build a conversation, which is what we are usually aiming for.
We've had a question from someone watching on LinkedIn, actually, for Anna, asking, Anna, how do you manage to juggle your 4 jobs?
Yeah, I'm very good at scheduling my time and making sure that, because none of them are full-time jobs, obviously. So it's all about just saying, right, I'm doing this job this time, and then that job that time. It's a bit different every week. I'm really good at just going with the flow each week, and I don't need everything to be the same every week in the way that some people, my husband, for example, he needs everything the same every week, otherwise it throws him out of balance. Whereas I quite like every week being completely different so that it's more interesting.
Thank you, Anna. And to Tabitha's question, which I think I've shortened here, what do we need to do to deepen our connection with nature in order to, and I know I didn't type it all out, Tabitha.
It's all right. It was a long question.
So what do we need to do to deepen our connection with nature? Anyone have a thought, a reflection?
I love Tabitha's reference to say it doesn't have to be in the countryside, it can be in a local park, and so for a lot of people, they don't have that access to wide open spaces, and yet anywhere. The historian Dan Snow once talked about happiness, and on his list of things that to bring about happiness was to spend more time near trees. And I just think, those trees can be on the side of the road as much as they can be in a forest. So just spending more time near trees, I think, is one of the keys to happiness.
Welcome to Val. Val, we haven't said hello. I don't know if you're on, can hear us now. I think you're on mute. I'll just unmute you and see if you're able to unmute. I can't unmute it for some reason. So hello, I don't know if you're able to unmute, but meanwhile, if we move on to our next 3 speakers, Debra first, then Ali, then Val. Is that okay?
That is fine.
Okay. So again, if we go into mute, and I will put Debra into solo layout. Good luck, enjoy your random dialogue solo layout. Here you go.
Thank you. So I wanted to talk about redefining success. It was something that's always been around in my mind for the last few years, but it really came back to the fore of my mind on Monday when I was preparing to give a talk about becoming a podcast guest, and how we assessed whether a podcast was successful enough for it to be beneficial for us to be on it. And during that talk, when I said to somebody that actually you only need 28 downloads to be in the top 50% of podcasts. So 28 downloads in the first 7 days. And that it really reminded me how we set our expectations around what success is really high. So you've got to have got the top grades. You have to be, going to the best university, or you're famous, or you won gold, or you're the world champion, or you're making loads of money. So all of our expectations and definitions about success are up here. And we can quite often be almost disparaging or neglectful of the successes that we achieve. And I'm actually kind of even annoyed with myself for doing my hands coming down, because we achieve them at all levels. And depending on where we are and what we're doing, success can be different for each of us, and it can be different for each of us on every day. So if you're in a world of overwhelm or pain, do you know what? Your success might be you got out of bed that day. Another day, it might be that you ran a marathon. That might be somebody different. But we look at all of these things and we don't recognize the value in everything we achieve. We don't recognize the skill that it takes to sit as Anna was just saying, and write an exam. Whether you get top marks or not, you still put that effort in. And I think we need to do a lot more to start recognizing our successes and start defining what is successful for me, not what does the rest of the world think is successful. And so I wanted to give you 3 challenges, 3 things to start doing that we can all do to start redefining success and redefining what we mean and what then others will hopefully start to mean as well. So the first one is challenging yourself. So when you're setting your goal, whether it's the goal for the day, whether it's the goal for the next 5 minutes, because some days that's all you can set as a goal, whether it's the next 5 years or the 10 years, really ask yourself, and I'm sorry, Ian, I'm saying why, even though you just told us to try not to say why. Ask yourself, what does it bring you? Why is that goal important? Is it because you want to achieve it? Is it because society wants you to achieve it? Is it because your parents say you've got to be a doctor? That is success. Or is it really making you happy? So really looking at all of our successes, all of the things that you are trying to do in the short term, the long term, and making sure that it's your success. And if success means that you make just enough money to cover your bills and to live the life that you want, to enjoy it, that's success. And it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks about it. So that's the first challenge. The second challenge is to look at how you perceive other people. So when I look at somebody and I go, oh, they just won the Grand Prix. Oh my God, that person's so amazing. Oh, that person down in 18th is pretty rubbish. To actually start thinking, you know what? Hang on a second. That person down in 18th is an amazing driver. That person has an incredible amount of skill. And it's amazing that they were even on the grid. So let's start recognizing our other achievements. You don't have to get gold to be successful. You can make it to the Olympics, and that's success. You can actually have run a block, and that's success. So let's start looking at how we perceive and react to people and recognizing that their success is exactly that. It's theirs, and recognizing what they've had to do to achieve that. And the third thing is for you to stand up tall. And you can be short still, because I am, but to stand up and own your success. Because what people will do, and they do it with the best intentions, is they will try and put their version of success onto you because they want you to be happy. They want you to be successful. But that isn't necessarily what you need or want. So stand up for it, own what you need, take what they're giving you, take the love and the good intentions with it, but don't give into it. Recognize that this is your life. This is what you want to do, and this is what's going to be your success. So, 3 things. Challenge yourself when you're looking for success. Challenge yourself when you're looking at other people and recognize their success, and own your version of success. Let's redefine success together and see if we can start making it much more achievable for everybody. Sorry, I'm getting the same thing now, a nice alarm. So let's redefine success together. Thank you.
Thank you. I put some of the 3 challenges in our chat as well, so we can have to reflect in the Q&A time. Thank you very much. Ali, are you okay?
I'm good, thank you.
You're used to speaking, aren't you? So
Oh, no pressure then.
yeah.
Put me
So,
on the
okay,
spot
I'll
then.
put you into solo. Here you go. Over to you.
Great.
Solo layout.
Thank you. And thank you too. Thank you for inviting me, Jayne, and thank you for placing me after Debra. because she said, making sure it's your success. And actually that links in beautifully with what I want to share with you tonight. I am particularly proud of something that I have grown over a number of years. I'm very privileged to work with children and with the adults around them. So that's with teachers, with teaching assistants, with social workers, but also with parents. So I work with anybody who's connected with learning. And I developed a strategy which I have used with children, and it's been really, really eye-opening to see how it can empower children to be able to reflect on their own success and connect with their own success and with each other. But the thing that became apparent, and actually was a little bit of a hurdle in the development of this, is that this tool is so powerful that actually it can be used in almost any situation. So the tool is called Fingertips with a capital T in the middle, and it's based, I've got my notes on there, on the 5 fingers of your hand. So it's unforgettable, it's always with you. It's something that you can practice as a child. If you've got a child who's not talking to you, you can reflect on what the child's doing, but also it grows. It lasts with you. If you're that child in the exam that we were speaking about earlier, then you can reflect on your practice before that. My son, I've been recently teaching him to drive, and it's like, I hate your fingertips, but this is what I did. And he doesn't hate the fingertips, he just hates that his mother's developed it. But I am, as you can tell, I can speak about this for a very long time. I'm going to tell you my favourite story. I was very privileged to be speaking at a conference in April time, and we were in a sort of speakeasy situation, and I met a wonderful woman who was about to speak to 700 people from 54 countries around the world, and she was speaking on her work with children and families in Ukraine. So you can imagine that's a fairly emotive subject there. And she looked petrified, and I said, excuse me, my friend, you look a little worried, you know, can I ask, is something on your mind? She said, yes, I've got to speak and share this work that we've done with all of these people, and I don't think I'm going to do it justice. And I said, would you mind if I just ask you a couple of questions beforehand? And she said, oh, okay. And so I used my fingertips, and I started off with thumbs up, trying to get this in the right place. Thumbs up. Not what are you good at, or what have you done right, because those are closed, but what are you particularly proud of? And the thing about these questions is that they encourage people to think deeply before they respond. And she said, helping so many people from so many different backgrounds. Now, at that point, I call them catalyst questions. I want to ask more. I want to know, tell me more about these people. Tell me, and we could, if we had more time, we could open that up. It's a catalyst question. But I went on to the next one because I wanted to empower her with starting points that she could then elaborate on in her conversation. The next one is a pointing finger. It points to who helps you or what helps you. Who helps you or what helps you? And she said, the people who help me are people who worked with me before. People in my team who really know what these families need. And it helps me that they don't worry too much about what to do, or that we don't have enough money. They just dive in and they get on with it. So we've had particularly proud, who helps you, what helps you. Now, I mentioned that I taught my son to drive. He has a different take on the middle finger, which I won't share with you. You'll be pleased to know that the middle finger is the journey along in this way. It's the longest journey. And if you look, my finger's no different to anyone else. It's got bumps in it. It's a bumpy road. So the catalyst question for this is, what's tricky and how do you tackle it? And I was really surprised by her response. She knew straight away what it was. What is tricky and how do you tackle it? What was tricky and how she tackled it was foreign aid. I was a little taken aback, and I did ask more. Why? Why is foreign aid a problem? Because it comes with baggage. It comes with expectations that the people who give the money presume that we don't know anything. They presume they know better than us. And we've got to do things the way that they say, which is usually not the best way. Now, I'd love to share the other two fingers with you, but I know Jayne's going to cut me off fairly shortly. What I'd like to tell you is each of the fingers has a depth, placing that in the right way. This one is, what are you particularly proud of? Here we've got, it's the wrong way around, the 3 fingers, the 4 fingers, and that's your team. What's your team particularly proud of? And then the last part of that is, what's your role within the team? What are you proud of within the team? And I'd have loved to have gone on to ask her that question. There are 2 others, but the thing that I am particularly proud of is I finished the task. It is now published in a book. So if you'd like to know more, I'm sure Jayne will be happy to share where you can access this Fingertips book. I'm Ali Maclure. Do get in touch if I can help you, but a question to end for you. If you were to talk to your child, to your partner, to your work colleague, and you just ask them, what were you particularly proud of today? You'd open up a conversation, and they would have the agency. They would have the ownership, because they would take it in their direction, and you would learn so much more. I've learned loads tonight, and it's such a privilege to be part of this. Thank you so much, Jayne, and to my fellow speakers. I'm Ali Maclure, and I hope to see you again.
Fabulous. Thank you, Ali.
Thank you.
Val, are you okay to join the stage? I hope you can unmute. I couldn't seem to unmute myself, so I'm going to put you into solo. Over to Val. Let's just check you can go to unmute first of all, otherwise you're going to be stuck in solo. There you go. Okay, well done. All right.
Because I couldn't unmute before. Well, hello, everybody. I'll just tell you very quickly. I'm a great granny. I have had 3 children. I've got 7 grandchildren and 8 great-grandchildren. And I run a project called Learn with Grandma, which is now in 52 countries around the world. And it's about intergenerational learning. We all learnt in the olden days from our elders, and we elders still do have skills and knowledge that we can pass on. But the technology has kind of put us in a different category. We're not as good at the technology as the young, but we need them to show us how to do it. There's a little illustration. A little boy said to his dad, "I've got a puncture." And his dad said, "I'll fix it at the weekend." He said, "No, it's okay. Grandpa's going to do it and he's going to show me how." The same day, the dad went to the son and said, "I need to tax my car and I've been told it's cheaper to do it online, but will you run me through it because I've never done it before?" Learning the new technologies is amazing. As I said, I'm 83. I never imagined that I would use technology in the way that I do. I just posted a thing about using AI. I mean, for heaven's sake, when I was in Uganda earlier this year, my colleague there, Moses, said, "Why don't you Learn with Grandma up on AI?" And I thought, I don't need that. But anyway, he did it and I looked. And I was gobsmacked. There was more about me there than things I'd forgotten. Oh, botheration, there's my phone. I don't know what to do. I'll let it ring. It's probably someone trying to sell me something. But I'm sorry you can hear it. Quickly, before I tell you what I want to talk about today, which is Humanity Day, I quickly want to mention to Tabitha, I would really like to be in contact with you. I was a Climate Cymru ambassador, and And it's quite a long story about how that came about. But because of that, we have a connection because of saving our planet. And I'd love to be in contact with you about that. And the lady from Ukraine, Ali, there is a Learn with Grandma Ukraine group. It's been a little less active of recent times because of the situation there, but they are struggling on amazingly. And in a way, Ukraine brings me on to Humanity Day. Humanity Day is an American project, and it's going to be, the big day is going to be on the 26th of October. Everyone can join. Jayne has the flyer, which she can send to you all, and then you'll be able to join in on the day. I've been involved for a little while, and it's become more and more interesting to me. And one of the reasons is because of refugees. I didn't realize I've got a Learn with Grandma Bangladesh group. Do you know that the largest refugee camp in the world is in Bangladesh? And there's damn near 1 million people there. The young man that I know there, his mother and 2 brothers, the boat they were on either was collapsed on purpose, or anyway, they ended up in the water. Mum and brother 1 were never seen again. The other brother he found barely alive on the beach, and he did manage to save him. It is a shocking situation. And one of the things that's happening in Bangladesh is because there's so many and because it's a poor country, they want to get rid of them. They want to send them somewhere else. And I thought, well, who is going to want another 1 million refugees? Britain can't. We're too small a country. I don't know where those people could go. And very often, the little refugees, the tiny babies, I saw a photograph, made me cry. There was a babe in the water, up to his neck, with his hands in the air. Was he asking for help or was he surrendering? I don't know. But he was just a little toddler. I don't know his story. I know nothing about him. But it was that photograph that made me want to get in touch again with the Humanity Day, because they were talking about things being parties, people doing things. We in my community in Llandudno have decided to reopen the cinema that was closed. We've still got all the equipment, and we've got a building, and we're going to have a party there. We're going to ask people to bring a plate so that we can all sit down and enjoy ourselves together and also watch films. And we're going to show a film about Humanity Day. And instead, I was in it. Yes, I did a little clip and they put the clip in the film. So I was a bit chuffed about that. So coming back to Humanity Day, what is it about? Well, the slogan is, I am humanity. There's a Facebook group, I Am Humanity, which you can find quite easily on Facebook. And by the way, I love Facebook. I think it's the most wonderful communication tool. You would think someone of my age wouldn't be interested in it. And I know lots of older people don't understand and they think it's all rubbish. Well, of course, there's some rubbish on it because it's a free communication tool. But you don't have to befriend every Tom, Dick and Harry that wants to befriend you. I mean, the number of people from distant countries who say, oh, you're so beautiful and you're so clever and I really want to know you. And I think, block. You don't have to be, you have to use the tool so that it's promoting good. And that's what I try to do. Am I running out of time, Jayne?
Well, that's 6 minutes, but we can do Q&A time in a moment as well. And that you can weave in some more things you'd like to speak about. But if you're okay to summarize or finish.
Well, how can I finish? I'll never be finished. I'm going to stay on this planet for as long as God will let me. So look at Learn with Grandma, and if it appeals to you, join. It is in many countries, as I say. I live in Wales, so there is a Learn with Grandma Wales group. There's also a Learn with Grandma UK group. Jayne, I think, has now also joined the I Am Humanity group. But you can pick up things from Facebook. You can meet people on Facebook that you would never, ever meet in a million years. I just think the technology that we have now is magic.
Thank you, Val. Thank you, everybody, for your magical talks this evening. So would you like to ask any questions to each other, reflect? Again, we haven't got any chats, but if you are watching this on replay, please do engage. We will get back to you. And often I know people watch this afterwards. So thank you for watching us.
Well, you could tell me what you thought of my speech, because it wasn't really a speech. I was just rambling.
I loved your ramblings, Val. I could listen to them every day.
I also loved it, Val. I think what you're doing is amazing. I love the concept.
Who said that? Oh, thank you. I can't see your name, but thank you very much. And by the way,
I love your passion, Val. I love your passion and your energy. And you talk about my friend Moses in Uganda and these people in Bangladesh, and the world has become smaller for you. And you are an important part of it. That is really lovely.
Actually, I think the world has become bigger because of it, because I never would have dreamt of being able to talk to my niece in Australia. Yeah. She gets cross with me if I phone her sometimes and it's the middle of the night there, because I'm not very good at getting the timing right. You know, it's what you can achieve with it is just amazing. I've got... My family are in on 3 continents and in 7 countries.
Wow.
And I've got a new little great-granddaughter. She's 4 months now, and she's very special because she is the only member of our family who has both Welsh and English DNA. Mm-hmm. Her dad is English, my grandson Adam, and her mother is Welsh-speaking Welsh. She will be dual language from the word go. Again, is learning across the generations.
Absolutely. And meanwhile, digitally. Oh,
sorry. Can I just say the man? I can't quite read his name. Who did the poetry? I do a wonderful version of The Walrus and the Carpenter. If you ever want me to, I learned it when I was 14, and I can't get all the way through now, but I managed to do a good crack at it. It's a long poem.
We'll have to do another video together, Val.
I wandered lonely as a cloud. No, that's a different one.
And I'm certainly looking forward for my husband to come home tonight to ask him what he's proud of today, Ali.
That's good.
Kind of ignoring him.
But it just opens it up rather than how was your day? And if you ask that of somebody who's tired, it was all right, or as Debra said earlier, they say it was fine when actually it wasn't. But what are you particularly proud of? When I ask it of children, you can sort of see the cogs whirring, and then they'll tell you something completely random. That I played with the scooter at playtime, and you're thinking, I was thinking of your maths, but you know, if the scooter's holds your bells and gives you agency, I want to know why. Why was the scooter important?
And in terms of questions, I'm quite an advocate for not overloading children. This is different, but with questions and each other, because sometimes there is power in silence. And when I sort of say to parents, you know, when your child gets in the car with you or even starts walking with you, we naturally go into like the should mode of, I should ask lots of questions. How was your day? Who did you play with? What did you eat? The child's already really overloaded. And I even think, people coming from work sometimes are quite overloaded. So there's power in just being, isn't there? And just being alongside somebody and just calm and present, and then allowing them to sort of process, and then the talking comes. But I also really love the question, there's time for questions as well, isn't there?
That's right. And they can be at any time. And also the other thing that I love about the fingertips is you don't have to do, I shouldn't have written on my hand, you don't have to do all 5 questions. Apart from the middle one, which I wouldn't go into cold, all of the others you can just ask on their own. And sometimes I do. Sometimes if I'm working with some physical activity, what have you practiced that's helped you with that if a child is being successful? And when I talk about a child, it can easily be an adult. I've worked with hairdressers, builders, people in big businesses, and I'm really keen to get that crossover between the two.
And I think you never let the child in you die. I'm, as I say, 83, but inside, I'm still Daddy's little girl. My dad died when I was only 14, and I'm still that person. Just because you get old and you've got white hair and so on, you don't have to stop doing the things. You may have to do them slightly differently. I mean, I don't do 10-mile hikes anymore, especially in Wales, because it is a bit hilly around me. But I still dance. I keep the remote over by the television so that I've got to get up to change the channels. You must keep your brain active and your body active too, because if you let one go, and it's hard to catch up.
And I'd just like to finish actually with some of Deborah's points on, owning our own success, and sort of thinking tonight about, what are you proud of right now with Ali? Hopefully you're proud of being here. You've shared your talk, and then owning that, owning what you've achieved by being here this evening. So I don't know if anyone wants to sort of say anything about what success means by being here tonight, perhaps, so maybe a word or two of your experience.
Why not go around the whole lot of us and ask that question?
Yeah, okay, it's a bit of a group hug. Ali.
I'm sorry, my short-term memory is not what I'm proud of, so could you repeat the question?
What are you proud, I guess I'm sort of linking in your kind of what are you proud of, and also Deborah's, owning our success tonight, and just what is it we're proud of for being here this evening?
I'm proud of having persistence, and from having part of this little tool to sticking with it and knowing how potent it is, and what a precious, somebody said to me, it's a precious burden and it's my job to share it, to actually having the bottle to say, well, I ask these questions based on my fingers and it makes a difference, but actually it does make a difference.
Thank you. Tabitha.
I was sitting thinking, sorry, I was getting lost in the definition of the question and starting to break it down a little bit, and then thinking about proud and what it means, and whether or not you can be proud of things you've done, things that other people have done. But the one thing that came to mind for me is, see, I'm autistic and I've got alexithymia. So, I mean, asking that question doesn't actually work for me because...
You have what? Sorry, Tabitha?
So, I'm autistic and I've got alexithymia. So,
that second one, alexithymia.
So alexithymia means that I have difficulty distinguishing emotions. So I've had to go into analysing what proud is to then look at it. I can go into body sensations, So I'm sitting here, that's what I'm saying. I've got completely lost in the question. And then I'm busy actually going, well, does this work? Does this not work? So I'm going to rephrase that in terms of this context. I'm proud that I've actually just said the question doesn't make sense to me, because it's put me into a headspin where I'm actually having to break it down and try and analyse it, because proud isn't a concept that exists, So, and yeah, now I've gone on off on another tangent and gone, so what's the sensations of feeling proud?
Yeah.
You know, and I'm kind of sitting there, you know, and I find it easier to identify physical sensations. So now I'm curious. I think I'm going to explore what the
You need to
physical
have a chat about that
sensations would
question
be.
then. Yeah, another time.
I would just like to answer that when we're using it with little children, we talk about what makes you shine inside, so that they feel the shine
See,
inside.
I would understand that question
Yes.
actually better. A lot better, definitely.
Like that. What makes you shine inside? Lovely. Ian.
I was reflecting on the fact that Jayne asked me, and I guess all of us, for 4 bullet points just to describe us for the promotion of this evening.
Mm.
And this week I've asked a few people what would they have as their 4 bullet points. So I think that's an interesting question to ask people, and getting them to stop and think. And it's the sort of question that you need to give them notice of the question. Otherwise you just get, things that immediately come to mind. But if you
4 shiny bullet points.
yeah, 4 shiny bullet points. Yeah, so I will use that. I will use that more.
Yeah. Anna.
I am proud of myself for having done it, because actually you've been talking to me about this for quite a long time now, and I finally agreed to do it. I think anyone who knows me will know that this is massively out of my comfort zone. So I have, struggled to want to do it, but I'm very good at challenging myself and trying out new things to, see if I can do it. So
Thank you, Anna. Well done. I'm proud of you. Thank you. Debra?
I'm actually proud that I've done it as well, and it's for a slightly different reason to Anna, which is that, as I mentioned before, I did a talk yesterday, and then I actually ran a coaching call today, and then I've done this, and my energy levels at the moment are actually really low. And so the fact that I've managed to do all of them and to stay awake, I know it's only 9:02, but that's quite late.
Yes, it's late.
And to still be sort of engaged, I'm really, pleased with having to achieve that. And I'm also really, one, I enjoyed all of the talks, but with Tabitha, for you, telling us why it didn't mean something to you, because I think, a lot of people would they would either, say something vague, but instead you said, no, Auntie, that question doesn't work for me, and here's why, and here's where it would, what would work better. So I was very impressed with that.
Thank you, Debra.
I appreciate that.
And Val?
I'm not really a proud person, but there is one thing I achieved, which I'm very proud of, and that was when I went to Buckingham Palace to get the MBE. And I could have brought it downstairs, but it's a bit too late now. Yes, I didn't know what it was going to happen. I just got a letter to say, would I accept it? And too right I would. And it was a wonderful day. So funny. And afterwards we went to a pub, and I'd still got my medal on. And Mum said, is that you're wearing the MBE? I said, yes, I know. It was my bloody effort. So I call it my bloody effort. Like OBE is other buggers' effort. But I'm proud too, in a way, that I survived, because I damn near didn't. I nearly died when I had TB in 1947, but my dad borrowed a plane and took 20 children to Switzerland, and we stayed in a sanatorium. And I wasn't supposed to go on the plane because my condition was worse than all of the others. And my dad said, well, fair enough, but I've got the plane. He was in the Air Force, and he borrowed the Viking of the Queen's flight. I know. I don't know how he did that. I'm proud too of when my dad died when I was only 14, and my mum decamped to a nursing home, and my brother only had 2 weeks compassionate leave. And my granddad was going senile, and I had to do all of the work with the solicitors and all of that, arrange the funeral. I could still cry at it now. It was
Oh
a
God.
horrible, horrible time. But I survived. I went to my headmistress and said, there's no money for next term's school fees. And she said, you can't leave at this age, Valerie, you're only 14. And she said, you can't get a job until you're 15. So I went and got a job in Beals in Bournemouth and told them I was 15.
I'm sorry to cut you short. I'm going to end the stream now because it's over the hour, but we can carry on chatting. No, we can carry on chatting. It's fine, but I'm going to just end the stream now and say goodbye to everyone who's been watching, and thank you for watching, and maybe everyone just gives a wave, and thank you for watching Random Dialogues 27, and the next one's in November, 6 speakers up 6 minutes each, time for Q&A, and hashtag Random Dialogues. Thank you everybody for being here. And
remember Humanity Day on the 26th of October.
Thank you, Valerie.